In the serene embrace of Willowbrook, where faith and tradition intertwine like the roses in bloom, a beloved statue of the Virgin Mary becomes the epicenter of an unexpected community drama, one that tests convictions and ultimately knits hearts together in a tapestry of unity. Amidst the oak-lined avenues and fragrant gardens of Willowbrook, a story lay dormant, ready to awaken. Sarah Mitchell, a devout Catholic and long-standing member of the community, found her refuge in the vibrant garden behind her home. At its heart stood a statue of the Virgin Mary, a treasured family heirloom that offered her profound peace and solace. Yet, within this sanctuary of faith and love, a storm was brewing, one that would challenge and reshape the community's bonds in profound ways. In Willowbrook, tranquility seemed to linger in the very air, a place where the gentle rustle of leaves accompanied the distant toll of church bells, creating a symphonic harmony. Here, Sarah Mitchell discovered a haven in her cherished garden, a colorful tapestry of blooms that she tended with unwavering devotion. At the center stood a statue of the Virgin Mary, her serene visage embodying hope and faith. Each morning, Sarah immersed herself in this sanctuary, her heart uplifted by the quiet beauty surrounding her. Yet, the tranquility of her refuge was about to be tested. One radiant morning, as the sun bathed the garden in a golden glow, Sarah noticed her neighbor, Mr. Henry Thompson, standing at the boundary of her yard. Known for his meticulously kept lawn and affinity for uniformity, Mr. Thompson's presence foreshadowed discord. "Good morning, Mr. Thompson," Sarah greeted, her voice warm though she sensed the tension palpable in the air. "Morning, Sarah," he replied, his tone as clipped as his hedges. "I wanted to discuss that statue of yours." Alarmed yet composed, Sarah listened as Mr. Thompson expressed his concerns about the statue disrupting the neighborhood's aesthetic harmony. While she acknowledged his viewpoint, Sarah's heart was anchored to the statue's sentimental significance and the peace it imparted. As Mr. Thompson spoke, the first ripple of conflict began to disturb the serenity of Sarah's world. The conversation with Mr. Thompson left Sarah deep in thought, caught between her devotion to her faith and her yearning for community harmony. Seeking divine guidance, she turned to prayer, hoping for wisdom to navigate this delicate situation. As days passed and tensions simmered beneath the surface, a visit from her dear friend Emily Carter offered a glimmer of hope. Emily proposed a garden gathering, a chance to transform perspectives and mend divides. This marked the beginning of a journey that would not only redefine Sarah's path, but also leave a lasting imprint on the heart of Willowbrook. Before we continue, tell us in the comments where you're watching from and what time it is right now where you are. It's always inspiring to see how stories of faith, community, and devotion to the Virgin Mary touch hearts across the world at every hour. If stories that test conviction and awaken faith resonate with you, subscribe so you don't miss what unfolds next. Sarah watched Emily leave with a wave, her friend's proposal of a garden gathering still echoing in her mind. The idea shimmered with possibility, offering a chance to bridge the growing chasm between her and Mr. Thompson. Yet, beneath this hope, anxiety stirred, a reminder that not all in Willowbrook saw the world through her eyes. The Virgin Mary statue stood serenely in the afternoon light, its presence a comforting constant in Sarah's life. She approached it now, her fingers brushing against the cool stone. The statue was more than a symbol of faith. It was a silent confidant, having witnessed her joys and sorrows over the years. With a sigh, Sarah turned and began to walk the garden path, her mind replaying the conversation with Mr. Thompson. His words had been sharp, laced with an underlying disdain that pricked at her heart. "It's out of place," he had insisted, gesturing toward the statue with a dismissive flick of his hand. "A disruption to our neighborhood's aesthetic harmony." Sarah had listened, her heart caught in a whirlwind of emotions, loyalty to her faith clashing with her desire for peace. She had tried to explain, to share the statue's significance, but Mr. Thompson's rigid stance allowed little room for understanding. His objections were rooted in a desire for uniformity, a wish to preserve the town's quaint appearance. Yet Sarah couldn't help but feel that there was more beneath the surface. As she walked, the garden seemed to echo her turmoil. The blooms, usually so vibrant, appeared muted under the clouded sky. A gentle breeze carried the scent of lavender, a reminder of simpler times when faith and community existed in harmony. Sarah paused, her thoughts drifting to the Virgin Mary's gentle gaze, and she found herself whispering a prayer for guidance. "Mother Mary, help me find the path that leads to peace," she murmured, her voice barely audible over the rustling leaves. The act of prayer was a balm to her troubled soul, a reminder that she was not alone in this struggle. In her heart, she knew that faith was not just a personal journey but a communal one, meant to foster understanding and compassion among all. The days that followed were a delicate dance of diplomacy. Sarah approached her duties with a renewed sense of purpose, mindful of the tensions simmering beneath the surface. She greeted neighbors with warmth, gently probing their thoughts about the statue and the underlying values it represented. Some, like Emily, shared her sentiments, supporting the idea of a gathering to foster dialogue. Others, however, echoed Mr. Thompson's concerns, their voices tinged with apprehension. Yet, within these conversations, Sarah found a glimpse of hope. She realized that beneath the veneer of disagreement lay a shared desire to belong, to feel connected to something greater than themselves. The statue, though a point of contention, had ignited a dialogue that could pave the way for deeper understanding. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Sarah sat on her porch, her thoughts once more turning to prayer. Her rosary beads slipped through her fingers, each one a step along her spiritual journey, offering solace and clarity. The repetition of the familiar prayers was like a heartbeat, steady and reassuring. "Holy Mother, guide my words and actions," she prayed, her heart opening to divine wisdom. In this sacred moment, Sarah understood that her faith was not a barrier but a bridge, one that could connect her to those around her, if only she had the courage to walk it. With a renewed sense of purpose, Sarah rose, determined to take the first step toward reconciliation. The garden gathering, Emily's inspired idea, was the perfect opportunity to bring the community together. It would be a chance to share stories, to listen and learn from one another, and perhaps to find common ground. The days leading up to the gathering were filled with preparations. Sarah, with Emily's help, transformed her garden into a welcoming haven. Lanterns were strung along the paths, casting a warm glow, and tables were arranged with care, each adorned with simple floral arrangements that whispered of grace and beauty. The scent of freshly baked bread wafted through the air, mingling with the fragrance of blooming roses. On the day of the gathering, Sarah found herself standing before the statue once more. The garden was alive with the quiet murmur of neighbors arriving, their voices mingling in the twilight air. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment. This was not just an event. It was a chance to heal, to transform discord into understanding. As the evening unfolded, Sarah watched as neighbors who rarely exchanged more than polite greetings began to share stories and laughter. Mr. Thompson, initially reserved, was drawn into a conversation with Emily, who skillfully wove tales of faith and community. Sarah approached them, offering a gentle smile. "Thank you for coming, Mr. Thompson," she said, her voice filled with sincerity. "I'm grateful for the opportunity to talk." He nodded, his expression softening. "I must admit, I didn't expect this. It's nice seeing everyone together." Sarah felt a flicker of hope. "I believe that our differences can strengthen us, if we let them. This statue, for me, is a reminder of that." Mr. Thompson considered her words, his gaze drifting toward the Virgin Mary, bathed in the soft glow of the lanterns. "Perhaps I've been too quick to judge," he admitted, his voice thoughtful. "There's beauty in diversity, isn't there?" Sarah nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Yes, there is. And I think, in many ways, we're all searching for the same thing, a sense of belonging, of purpose." As the night deepened, the garden gathering became a tapestry of shared experiences and newfound connections. Sarah moved among her neighbors, listening and learning, her heart lifted by the understanding that was beginning to blossom. By the time the last guests had departed, and the garden was once again still, Sarah stood alone beneath the stars. The statue of the Virgin Mary seemed to glow with a quiet grace, as if offering a silent blessing. In this moment of reflection, Sarah felt a profound sense of peace. She had taken the first step toward healing, not just for herself, but for her community. As she turned to retire for the night, Sarah knew that the path ahead was still uncertain, but her faith would light the way. The journey was far from over, yet she felt prepared to face whatever lay ahead, buoyed by the strength of her convictions and the love that bound her to Willowbrook. And so, with a heart full of hope and a spirit renewed, Sarah stepped forward, ready to embrace the next chapter of her journey. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, Sarah awoke with a sense of quiet anticipation. The previous night's reflection under the stars lingered in her heart, though the tranquility of the moment was soon interrupted by the soft chime of her doorbell. She opened the door to find Emily Carter, her oldest friend, standing on the porch with a warm smile and a basket of freshly baked scones. "Good morning, Sarah," Emily greeted, her voice as comforting as the aroma of the still warm pastries. "I hope I'm not too early." "Never," Sarah replied, stepping aside to let her friend in. "Come in. It's always a joy to see you." As they settled in the cozy kitchen, the morning sun casting gentle patterns on the walls, Emily got straight to the point. "I've been thinking," she began, her eyes twinkling with an idea she could hardly contain. "What if you hosted a gathering in your garden? Something to bring the community together like we used to do. I think it could be just what everyone needs." Sarah paused, her mind racing. The garden, her sanctuary, had been a place of solitude, a refuge in her time of healing. The thought of opening it up to the village was both daunting and exhilarating. She hesitated, her fingers tracing the rim of her teacup. "I don't know, Emily," Sarah replied, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "What if it's too soon?" Emily reached across the table, her hand covering Sarah's in a gesture of reassurance. "I understand your hesitance," she said softly. "But think of what it could mean for Willowbrook. A chance for everyone to come together, to mend old wounds, to start fresh. Besides, you've always had a way of bringing people together. It's a gift." Sarah considered her friend's words. Emily had always been the peacemaker, a gentle force of unity within their circle. If anyone could see the potential for healing in such a gathering, it was her. Slowly, Sarah felt her resolve strengthen, a flicker of hope igniting within her. "All right," Sarah said, her voice firmer now. "Let's do it. Let's bring everyone together." Emily beamed, her excitement infectious. "Wonderful. We'll make it a day to remember." The days that followed were a whirlwind of activity. Word of the gathering spread quickly through the village, sparking curiosity and anticipation. Sarah and Emily threw themselves into the preparations, their shared enthusiasm lending an air of joyous expectation to the task. The garden, already a haven of beauty, was transformed into a setting of serene elegance. Strings of fairy lights were woven through the branches of the old oak trees, casting a warm, inviting glow. Tables were arranged with care, adorned with simple yet elegant floral arrangements that echoed the natural splendor of the surroundings. As Sarah worked, she found herself drawing strength from her faith, her prayers an ever-present murmur in her heart. The act of preparing the garden felt like a sacred offering, a testament to her willingness to embrace a new chapter, not just for herself, but for the community she cherished. Emily, ever the voice of encouragement, kept spirits high. "This will be more than just a gathering," she said one afternoon as they hung lanterns along the garden path. "It's a chance for reconciliation, for healing. I can feel it." Sarah nodded, her heart full of cautious optimism. She knew the journey to healing was far from over, but she felt a deep sense of peace knowing she was surrounded by love and support. As the day of the gathering approached, the garden stood ready, a symbol of both physical and emotional space for healing. The anticipation hung in the air, a silent promise of what could be. On the eve of the event, Sarah stood at the edge of the garden, the gentle rustle of leaves and the distant song of a nightingale her only companions. She closed her eyes, offering a silent prayer of gratitude and hope. "Thank you for this opportunity," she whispered, her words carried on the evening breeze. "Guide us toward peace and understanding." With that, Sarah turned back toward her home, a sense of purpose guiding her steps. She knew the path ahead was still uncertain, but her faith would light the way. And with Emily by her side, she felt ready to embrace whatever the future held. As the stars began to dot the night sky, the garden lay in serene anticipation, ready to welcome the community of Willowbrook. Here, amidst the beauty of creation, there was hope for healing, for redemption, for a new beginning. And as Sarah prepared to close this chapter of her life, she knew that the next was just beginning, filled with promise and possibility. As dawn broke over Willowbrook, the garden began to stir with life. Sunlight danced through the leaves, casting playful shadows across the vibrant blooms that lined the paths. Birds chirped a gentle melody as if heralding the day's promise. The scent of freshly baked bread mingled with the sweet fragrance of jasmine, setting the stage for a gathering filled with warmth and anticipation. Sarah moved through the garden, her heart swelling with a mix of nervous excitement and hope. She paused for a moment, taking in the scene before her. Tables adorned with simple white cloths and mason jars filled with wildflowers. Chairs arranged in inviting circles, encouraging conversation and connection. It was as if the garden had been transformed into a sacred space, a sanctuary of community and grace. The first guests arrived, their faces lighting up as they stepped into the garden's embrace. Neighbors greeted one another with warm smiles and friendly waves, the air buzzing with the hum of conversation. Children dashed between the tables, their laughter like a joyous prayer rising to the heavens. Sarah watched as people she had known for years and others she had yet to meet mingled together, their shared presence weaving a tapestry of fellowship. Emily stood by Sarah's side, her eyes twinkling with excitement. "Look at all these people. It's like a little piece of heaven right here," she said, her voice filled with wonder. Sarah nodded, a smile spreading across her face. "It's amazing what can happen when we come together with open hearts," she replied, feeling a deep sense of gratitude for this moment. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the gathering reached its full bloom. Stories were shared over plates of homemade pastries and cups of steaming coffee. Laughter echoed through the garden, a testament to the joy of shared experiences and renewed friendships. It was as if the garden itself was rejoicing, its vibrant colors reflecting the hope and unity that filled the air. Yet amidst the celebration, a figure lingered at the edge of the gathering, hesitant and unsure. Mr. Thompson, with his stern demeanor and guarded expression, stood apart from the crowd. His presence, once a source of tension, now seemed softened by the garden's warmth and the gentle murmur of community around him. Emily watched him for a moment before nudging Sarah. "There's someone who needs a little nudge in the right direction," she whispered with a knowing smile. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the gentle nudge of the Holy Spirit guiding her steps. She approached Mr. Thompson, her heart open and her mind free of judgment. "Mr. Thompson," she greeted, her voice warm and inviting. "Thank you for coming. It means a lot to have you here." He shifted awkwardly, his eyes meeting hers briefly before looking away. "I wasn't sure if I should come," he admitted, his voice gruff but lacking its usual edge. "I'm glad you did," Sarah replied, her sincerity shining through. "This garden is meant to be a place of peace and understanding, and I hope you feel welcome here." He nodded, his gaze softening as he took in the scene around him. "It's a beautiful thing you've done here," he said quietly, almost as if admitting a secret to himself. Sarah sensed the moment was ripe for healing, the air around them charged with possibility. Just then, Emily appeared at her side, her presence a gentle reassurance. "Mr. Thompson, would you like to see the statue from up close?" she asked, her voice gentle and kind. He hesitated, his eyes flickering with uncertainty. But then something shifted within him, a willingness to see beyond past grievances. "I think I would," he said at last, his voice carrying a note of vulnerability. Together, they walked toward the statue that had been the source of so much contention. As they approached, the afternoon light bathed the figure in a golden glow, its serene expression offering a silent benediction. "This statue," Sarah began, "represents more than just an object in the garden. For me, it's a symbol of hope and renewal, a reminder that grace is always within reach if we open our hearts to it." Mr. Thompson studied the statue, his brow furrowed in thought. "I didn't understand that before," he confessed, his voice tinged with regret. "I was so focused on what I thought was right that I didn't see what was truly important." Emily reached out, her hand resting gently on his arm. "It's never too late to see things differently," she said, her words carrying the weight of truth and compassion. "That's the beauty of faith and community." In that moment, something shifted in Mr. Thompson's heart. The walls he had built began to crumble, replaced by a sense of peace and acceptance he hadn't known he needed. He met Sarah's gaze, his eyes reflecting a newfound understanding. "Thank you for helping me see," he said simply, his voice filled with gratitude. As they stood together, surrounded by the garden's beauty and the warmth of the community, a sense of reconciliation took root. It was a quiet, yet profound transformation, born of empathy and the willingness to see through another's eyes. The gathering continued into the evening, the garden aglow with the soft light of lanterns and the gentle hum of conversation. As Sarah looked around at the faces filled with joy and connection, she felt a deep sense of fulfillment. This was the power of community, of faith in action, a living testament to the possibilities of healing and redemption. And as the night sky stretched above them, dotted with stars like promises yet to be fulfilled, Sarah knew that this gathering was just the beginning. A new chapter was unfolding, one filled with hope, understanding, and the unwavering belief in the transformative power of love. The garden, once a place of solitude and contemplation, had become a beacon of light for the people of Willowbrook. And in the hearts of those gathered, the seeds of change had been sown, ready to blossom into a future filled with promise and possibility. The garden, now a cherished sanctuary in Willowbrook, basked in the afterglow of the gathering, the lantern's light gradually dimming as the night wore on. For Sarah, the evening had been a tapestry of laughter and heartfelt exchanges, each moment adding a stitch to the fabric of her renewed community. But as the guests began to leave, Sarah felt a lingering presence, a sense that the night held one more revelation. Mr. Thompson stood at the edge of the garden, his silhouette framed by the soft glow of the lanterns. His figure was a stark contrast to the vibrant life that had filled the space just moments before. There was a heaviness to his posture, a contemplative air that seemed to weigh on him as he watched the last of the guests depart. As Sarah approached him, she noticed the subtle change in his demeanor. Gone was the rigid stance of a man who had once stood in opposition. In its place was a quiet humility, a softening that spoke more than words ever could. He turned to her, his eyes reflecting the stars above, and she saw the beginnings of something she hadn't expected: contrition. "Sarah," Mr. Thompson began, his voice carrying a sincerity that touched Sarah's heart. "I've been doing a lot of thinking since our last conversation. About the statue, about what it represents." Sarah nodded, sensing the depth of what he was about to say. She remained silent, allowing him the space to express what had clearly been weighing on him. "I was wrong," he continued, a note of vulnerability threading through his words. "I was so focused on my own perspective that I failed to see what was truly important. This garden, the statue, it's not just about art or aesthetics. It's about something much deeper." He paused, as if searching for the right words. "It's about community, about faith, and the way it brings people together. I've seen the way it has transformed this place, how it has given people hope. And I realize now that I was standing in the way of that." Sarah felt a warmth spread through her, a profound sense of relief mingled with gratitude. "Thank you, Mr. Thompson," she replied softly, her voice steady. "It means a lot to hear you say that. The statue was always meant to be a symbol of our shared journey, of the healing and redemption we can find together." Mr. Thompson nodded, his expression earnest. "I see that now, and I want to apologize for the trouble I caused. I hope you can forgive me." Sarah smiled, a gesture that seemed to light up the dimming garden. "Of course, forgiveness is at the heart of our faith, after all. We all make mistakes, but it's what we do afterward that truly matters." The tension that had once existed between them dissolved in that moment, replaced by a mutual understanding and respect. It was a powerful testament to the theme of forgiveness, a core tenet of their shared faith. As they stood together, the garden seemed to embrace them, its beauty a reflection of the harmony that had been restored. The next day, the news of Mr. Thompson's change of heart spread throughout Willowbrook. Neighbors began to visit the garden more frequently, each expressing their appreciation for its beauty and the sense of peace it brought to the community. The garden had become a place of pilgrimage, not just for its aesthetic charm, but for the deeper symbolism it represented. One afternoon, as Sarah tended to the flowers, she was joined by Mrs. Delgado, a woman whose quiet strength and unwavering faith had always inspired Sarah. "I heard about Mr. Thompson," Mrs. Delgado said, her eyes filled with warmth. "It's wonderful to see how this garden has touched everyone." Sarah nodded, a contentment settling within her. "It feels like a miracle, doesn't it? Seeing how faith can change hearts and bring us closer together." Mrs. Delgado smiled, her gaze sweeping over the vibrant blooms. "It's a reminder that even the smallest of gestures, like planting a seed, can lead to something beautiful. And sometimes, the most unexpected people can surprise us." As they spoke, the garden around them seemed to breathe with life, each flower and leaf a testament to the transformative power of love and forgiveness. It was a living parable, a reflection of the divine, woven into the fabric of their everyday lives. As the sun began to set, casting a golden hue over the garden, Sarah felt a sense of fulfillment. The community had come together, united by a shared vision of hope and renewal. The garden, once a solitary refuge, had blossomed into a symbol of unity and faith, a beacon of light for all who sought solace within its embrace. With the chapter of discord now closed, Sarah looked forward to the new beginnings that lay ahead. She knew that the journey of faith was an ongoing one, filled with opportunities for growth and understanding. And as she stood amidst the beauty of the garden, she felt a profound sense of peace, knowing that love and forgiveness would always guide the way. The story of Willowbrook was far from over. In the hearts of its people, the seeds of change had taken root, ready to bloom into a future filled with promise and possibility. And as Sarah gazed up at the stars, she felt a quiet certainty that the best was yet to come. As the first light of dawn painted the sky in gentle hues of pink and gold, Willowbrook awoke to a new day, one that carried the promise of renewal etched into every leaf and stone. The air was crisp, filled with the scent of dew-kissed grass, and the soft chorus of birdsong was a gentle reminder of nature's harmony. In the heart of the town, the Virgin Mary statue stood serenely, her gaze tender and all-encompassing, a silent witness to the tapestry of lives intertwined in faith and unity. Sarah walked through the garden, her footsteps light upon the earth, each step a prayer of gratitude. The garden had become a sacred space, a living testament to the power of community and the beauty of diversity. It was more than just a collection of plants. It was a sanctuary where hearts could heal and spirits could soar. The flowers, vibrant and varied, danced together in the morning breeze, each one a reminder of the unique beauty that every soul brought to Willowbrook. Mr. Thompson, once a solitary figure burdened by the weight of his own regrets, now joined Sarah in tending to the garden. His hands, once hesitant, moved with newfound purpose as he nurtured the growing shoots. "It's amazing how this place has changed," he remarked, his voice a blend of awe and humility. "And how much it has changed me." Sarah smiled, her heart warmed by the transformation she witnessed in him. "You've been a part of that change, Mr. Thompson. Your kindness and willingness to embrace the community have inspired so many." He nodded, his gaze lingering on the statue of the Virgin Mary, whose serene presence seemed to embrace the garden in a gentle embrace. "I suppose we all found something here, something we didn't even know we were looking for." The garden had indeed become a cherished landmark in Willowbrook, a place where people from all walks of life gathered to find solace and connection. It was here that friendships were forged, where laughter echoed among the blossoms, and where silent prayers were whispered to the heavens. The garden had grown into a living parable of faith, its roots deepening with each shared moment of compassion and understanding. As the sun climbed higher, casting warm rays upon the earth, Sarah reflected on her own journey. She had come to Willowbrook seeking refuge from a world that felt too vast and uncertain. But in giving herself to the soil and to the people, she had found something far greater, a sense of belonging, a tapestry of lives woven together by threads of hope and faith. Her thoughts turned to the Virgin Mary statue, a symbol that had quietly united the town. It stood as a beacon of light, a reminder that even in the darkest times, faith could illuminate the path forward. The statue's presence had sparked conversations about faith and community, bridging gaps and fostering a spirit of openness that transcended differences. One afternoon, as the sun began its descent in the sky, casting long shadows across the garden, the townspeople gathered for a special ceremony. It was a celebration of unity, an acknowledgement of the journey that had brought them all together. The air buzzed with anticipation, a tangible energy that spoke of hope and promise. Father Michael, the town's beloved priest, stood before the crowd, his eyes bright with emotion. Today, we gather not just to celebrate a garden or a statue, but to honor the spirit of Willowbrook itself. We are a community bound by love and faith, a community that has shown the world what it means to embrace diversity and find strength in unity. As he spoke, Sarah felt a deep sense of peace wash over her, as if the very essence of the garden was wrapping her in a gentle embrace. The journey had not been without its challenges, but each trial had only served to strengthen the bonds between the townspeople, weaving their lives together in a tapestry of faith and resilience. Mr. Thompson stepped forward, his voice steady and filled with conviction. I've learned that true strength comes not from standing alone, but from standing together. This garden, this community, has taught me the power of compassion and acceptance. I am grateful for each and every one of you. His words resonated deeply, echoing the sentiments of many who had found a home in Willowbrook. The garden had become a symbol of transformation, a place where hearts were unburdened and spirits were uplifted. It was a reminder that even the smallest acts of kindness could create ripples of change, touching lives in ways unseen. As the ceremony drew to a close, Sarah looked around at the faces of her friends and neighbors, each one a testament to the enduring spirit of Willowbrook. She knew that the story of this town was far from over, that the seeds of faith and love planted here would continue to grow, nourished by the shared experiences and the bonds of community. In the quiet moments that followed, as the crowd began to disperse, Sarah stood before the Virgin Mary statue, her heart filled with gratitude. She whispered a silent prayer, a promise to continue nurturing the garden and the community that had given her so much. And as she gazed up at the sky, where the first stars were beginning to appear, she felt a quiet certainty that the journey of faith and unity would endure, guiding Willowbrook toward a future filled with hope and endless possibilities. The garden, the statue, the community, all were legacies of a journey that had transformed not only the landscape but the very fabric of Willowbrook. It was a testament to the power of faith to inspire change, to bring people together in a spirit of love and understanding. And as Sarah turned to walk back through the garden, she knew that the story of Willowbrook would continue to unfold, a timeless narrative of redemption and grace, woven into the hearts of all who called it home. As this story draws to a close, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What would you have done in Sarah's place? Share your reflections in the comments. Tell us where you're watching from and what time it is right now where you are. Subscribe for more stories of faith, compassion, and unexpected moments that bring communities together.